certainly all for the president's mission, which is to return education to the states. I believe, as he does, that the best education is closest to the child. Not all states have the same living costs. Not all states have the same ability to pay teachers. But defunding is not the goal here. The continuation of Pell Grants, I'd actually even like to see an expansion of Pell Grants. Education, I think, is at the very center of our culture. It is the ticket out of poverty for so many students. And I think we have to look at our entire education system and say, you know, four-year college is not for everyone. But we don't have enough skill-based learning. We don't have enough internships or apprenticeship programs. Now, I believe in freedom of speech on campus, open debate, and we should encourage that. But we cannot allow violence happening on our campuses. That puts all students in an unsafe place. DEI, I think, has been, it's a program that's tough. It was put in place ostensibly for more diversity, for equity and inclusion, and I think what we're seeing is that it's having an opposite effect.
Well, ongoing efforts by the administration and Elon Musk and his DOGE team facing pushback from congressional Democrats protesting not only in Washington, but really all across the country. The Education Department is the smallest of all cabinet agencies. It employs fewer than 5,000 people. Let's bring in News Nation's Joe Khalil live in Washington. Joe, where do things stand right now? Because we also know the president wants to dismantle this agency.
That was the big elephant in the room today, Nichole, and the obvious questions that were going to come. It is a bit ironic that President Trump has tapped Linda McMahon to lead an agency that ultimately this administration says they want to phase out. And Linda McMahon echoed that, too. She said that her goal as secretary would be to return education largely to the states. What does that look like exactly? We don't know, and that's largely what senators today were trying to get from Linda McMahon, the nominee for the education secretary post. So there was a lot of interesting back and forth. I will say that Democrats raised a lot of concerns. Republicans expressed a lot of trust in Linda McMahon. We heard people like Senator Tim Scott say things like, with her business background, helping to run the WWE and Small Business Administration, she is somebody who can help turn the Department of Education or the state of education around and try to get test scores up in reading and math. But the Democrats' concerns are that potentially ending the Department of Education is illegal and they say would do irreparable harm. Chris Murphy, one senator, said it was a crazy idea. Today, Arne Duncan, the former education secretary under President Obama, was there today. He was taking questions afterward, and this is what he said here, really raising alarms in his view.
An extraordinarily scary time, and I'm not a scared guy. I've never been more concerned for public education. I've never been more concerned for our democracy. I've never been more concerned for our country. So we have to fight.
You talked about DOGE, Nichole. That was something that, again, came up today. Several Democrats saying that they simply don't trust when Linda McMahon and other nominees say that they would continue to follow the rule of law if Congress passes a bill and appropriates money for the Department of Education, but then potentially DOGE tries to scale that funding back, that it would get to where it needs to get to. So that, again, another concern from Democrats today, but certainly an interesting hearing.
Absolutely. All right, Joe Khalil live for us there in Capitol Hill. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.